Hello and welcome back to Imperfect Parenting with myself, Ben, and the one and only,
Brittney.
the original Ipster.
I'm the OG.
OG Ipster.
I don't know that I'm the OG imperfect parent because I had parents, so.
Oh. But Ipsters didn't start till
It's
you wread a
just didn't
book.
start till we got here. Yeah, that's true.
It's good to be back. Thanks for joining us.
It's true.
Meme time.
Yeah.
Do you want a meme or should I meme?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
That's
I
my
just
girl.
feel like I couldn't not do it.
Ben loved that because it was such a dad joke.
I
just
feel
fell
so
in love
proud.
with me a little bit more, guys.
Oh man, say it again. No, don't say it again. But that was good.
I can't remember who did the last one. I did it. You do it this time. It's been so long.
I'm stuck on what just happened. That was. I was like
What
crying.
do you mean?
Oh boy. Meme is now a verb on this podcast. Here's the meme, because we like to have fun, if you couldn't tell. It says, my kids at 5 a.m. on a weekend morning. It's like this mosh pit with this guy
He's
crowd
surfing.
surfing, big smile on his face. This is the best day of my life. And then it says, my kids at 7:15 on a school day morning. And it's two dogs fast asleep, like they are not getting up anytime soon.
I think it's just one dog and a toy, but
That's a stuffed animal.
that's fake.
That's a stuffed animal.
But it's a puppy that's passed
We're taking a
out.
vote. Is that a dog or a stuffed animal?
It's a stuffed animal dog, maybe. Maybe I'll give you that. You put all the words together, and that's what it is.
But this is true. I mean, it's so
Oh.
funny, especially parents with little kids. They're like, why are you up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday?
Oh, and they always know it's Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not Sundays
No.
because then we can
That's
go to
church.
first service. It's not that. It's just Saturdays, the one day that we could all sleep in. They set their internal little clocks that say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice with the sunrise.
And be glad at 5 a.m.
Yeah. It's true. And then when you try and get them up, it's as if you're the rudest person in the world. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
I'm sleeping with my stuffed toy dog right now.
Because that's what it is.
You have to go look at the meme for that weird commentary happening here.
Yeah, it'll be on my socials. so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to jump into our question so we don't miss out on that. I'll read it to you.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. Again, if you want to give us question info at Loving on Purpose, or you can direct message Ben and I on socials and say for the podcast, and make sure you say you can say I'm an Ipster looking for a question to be answered.
I
if
think
you
I
want
rhyme.
to. Or not. No one has referred to themselves as Ipsters yet, so I'm hoping it catches on.
It's going to catch
here
on
soon. Okay. All right. Question is, what type of parenting style did your parents have? They have 3 questions in one. Did they ever realize that they were doing it wrong? If so, how old were you when they tried to reverse course?
I'm not sure I've actually had the overt conversation with my parents.
But with the knowledge, what would you say?
We've had enough of conversations, and with the knowledge, I would say they're pretty similar to us on a bad day.
Mhm.
Me and my mom is most likely the aggressive style of parenting. My dad was most likely the passive style of parenting. But I do remember my mom telling me when she first actually got a hold of some of this content and started hearing it, she's like, here are some things that I could have done differently. Here are some things I could have adjusted. But yeah, that's my quick answer. Is they were the aggressive and passive.
Mhm.
I think at the same time, like I look back and there was many moments where the engagement was there that I like. For instance, they let me come to America. Maybe that was permissive. Brittney, I'm bearing my heart here.
I'm so glad you came to America, obviously. But I'm laughing thinking, I love my husband. He's going to put a positive spin on everything. So beautiful. I'm thinking, oh, I remember this time, and I remember this time of all the things I could tell you. Maybe I won't, but it's beautiful. I don't know. I don't know if it was permissive or not. I don't know what that would be. Adventurous. We'll just create a new category. Your parents were adventurous.
Adventurous. There we go. I lost my train of thought. It left.
You were talking about them being permissive, letting you come over at 15 or not, what the parenting style was.
Yeah, I mean, I
They
think
were
in my head
engaged.
I'm stringing together multiple different situations. The American was the biggest one,
Mhm.
where they let me go discover things and find things and take adventures. You know, she admitted the other day when she was in town months back that was scary. You know,
Sure.
I'm like, it was awesome over here, but there was a level of trust that was taking place. But back to the question, passive and aggressive. I think you probably processed this one a little more with your parents.
That's what they really want to know. That's what the people want to
That's what the
know.
question.
Tell us about Danny and Sherry's
You asked me the question, so I'm going to answer it first, and then we'll lobby it back to you.
When did I mean? You said your mom got more knowledge of these tools. None of that happened until we were either dating or engaged. At that point, you were adult. Most of you guys were all adults.
They were living here. Yeah, we're adults.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find the timestamp of that one. So my parents, my mom was the aggressive style for sure. My dad would have been the passive. So, we're staying in theme really well. Yay, us. I don't know.
Yay, us.
I don't know. It's not to be celebrated. You know, upbringing shapes so much of who you are and what you bring to everything you do. How you show up at work, how you show up in marriage, how you show up in parenting. I mean, gosh, it's your aggressive style of, we call it parenting. It's also probably your communication approach. I think it's just how you show up. So, yeah, maybe what you don't know, I can't remember all that's in my dad's book, but my mother and I, so imagine having me as a child who is growing up to be a baby, aggressive communicator and a parenting style. We would yell and scream at each other from one end of the house to the other, as if it was a sport we were going to try and win a medal for. I mean, just intensely yelling and communicating. Two bulls in a china shop was our life. I feel like that was when I was young. I would probably, my mom was just scared. My mom was scared and I didn't feel very powerful. And so she's always says I came out telling her what's up. So I did come out telling her what's up. And that's what she brought back to me, was trying to control me because she was scared. So she was intense, aggressive. At 9 years old, I think I laughed in her face when she tried to spank me. I was no easy peach, guys. Okay. I'm just trying to tell you, whatever you think you have at home, I'm pretty sure I was that. So
she helped create a book.
There's hope. I called my mom the B word when I was 9 after I got off the bus and just decided to go with my friend at some random stop.
That was a rough year, huh?
Yeah,
9 years old.
9, I was like, you know what? I know all. So yeah, that's, my mom met me with aggression and intensity, and I said, okay, I see your challenge and I will raise you. That's pretty much how that went. My dad was probably much more passive for quite a while. In the early years, I remember him as the fun dad. I don't remember being corrected by my dad. I remember my mom handling all the discipline. Unless it got really bad, then I remember getting spanked by my dad. But I don't remember many of the teaching moments or this and that. I remember lots of fun with my dad. So he played the fun role. She played the disciplinary role for the first chunk of my adolescent years. And then about 8, 9, somewhere in there, my dad got a hold of his first Love and Logic tape. Drill Sergeant and Helicopter Parent, I think is what the title of it was. And he started listening to that. He started listening more. And then all of a sudden, he started appearing in my memory of having different conversations with me about behavior, my attitude towards my mom. Before, he didn't seem to care. At least that's my memory of it. He probably did, but
he was avoiding.
He was. They had their own marital stuff going on that I wasn't really aware of too much. So he changed that and pretty much didn't look back, I would say, when I was about 8 or 9. And then my mom, she trailed a few years later. So I was probably, let's say, 10 to 12 more so when she started doing it. But we had a little bit more to work out back then. And then we still would communicate intensely,
Passionately.
even into my later teen years. But all in all, now I would say they definitely all recognize when they were doing it wrong, and that's why they changed. They wouldn't have changed if they thought they were doing it right, I don't think. And we're all, we are my parents' best friends. I will say it for them because I know it's true. We are their best friends. We are who they want to be with all the time. They just went somewhere with some friends of theirs, this fun thing that they were gone and doing all this stuff. And they both were texting us, telling us all the fun things that they were having that they wish we were there for, that we could do it together. I'm like, yeah, you guys, you just love us so much. So all that to say that I think we worked out our relationship pretty well, and I'm grateful for it. So there's the answer to your question.
Beautiful.
You heard it first here, folks, straight from the horse's mouth. Me. I told you the truth. It's a phrase, I guess. It doesn't really make sense. I'm not a horse.
Horse. I was like, not a horse.
I don't know why they say
It
it.
is a phrase. I don't know. Mr. Ed, the show.
I guess.
Maybe it was that.
We were really dating ourselves. I don't know.
Well, we should move on. It's going to get weird talking about Mr. Ed here. But I do want to take a moment. And before we jump into our content, or as Brittney likes to call it, the meat and potatoes of our podcast, I do want to mention our sponsor because we are so thankful for what they're doing. They're in over 30 states. If you haven't heard this already, they're doing a great job. And they're called Rents for Baby. I keep saying Rents for Babies, which is what it is. But their website is www.rentsforbaby. This is hard to say. Goodness.
Rents, like you rent a car.
Rents for baby.
And then for the number 4.
That's what I was thinking every time.
Baby.
Rents for baby.
And then Imperfect Parenting gets you a code.
That's the code.
10% off.
But they have baby gear, they have toys, they have blackout curtains that they will deliver somewhere, probably a place near you. If you go on a vacation in the States, look them up, check them out. We're so glad to have them as a partner and a sponsor. And they're doing things with such great excellence.
It's true. Their core values say upscale, excellence, simplicity, reliable, attentive, and trusted.
I like it.
So,
rentsforbaby.com.
Perfect.
I said the practice one more time. All right.
Well, good topic is self-control when you feel out of control. That's what was our upbringing. We had some parents that felt out of control and they didn't really gain control of themselves because they just try to control us. You're an easier child, I think, than I was.
I was probably just better at hiding it.
Yeah, but still, you didn't have as much attitude. It's good because that means that our kids don't have as much attitude. So I'm grateful for that. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, I think self-control is a topic we talk about at Loving on Purpose as a whole all the time. Your dad was sharing recently about different values and different things we need in our life, and he said courage is the most important one because courage is required in everything else we do. To be obedient, it requires courage. To take a risk, it requires courage. To tell the truth, it requires courage. To control myself, it requires a whole bunch of courage. And I just sit here thinking about self-control. It's courageous because the other option is that I let fear take over and have its way, and now I'm trying to control the situation or control this person because I'm believing something. So allowing yourself to actually engage with the courage it takes to just first control yourself as a parent.
Yeah.
It's going to set the standard in your home. And again, we have this conversation all the time on this podcast. We talk about it all the time. But we'll never stop because we're people and we're trying to figure this thing out. We've been talking about it for years now and we're still trying to figure it out.
Clearly.
We're just constantly getting better at how am I doing controlling myself, especially when my child's in their swirl and a mess and out of control.
a lot of people ask me, about being an authoritarian parent, or being the angry person before, or growing up with the angry person, and what's the secret? How do you stop doing that? How do you let go of control? I mean, this is human nature. Everybody craves control. Everybody craves security.
Yep.
I think you have to understand, what is your ultimate goal
Yep.
in this relationship, and what is it that you want to protect more than anything. And so I think that just helped me to discover why I want self-control in my life. Is because my goal got clearer and clearer. I want a vulnerable, intimate connection with my kids that lasts past them living with me. Because when they live with me, it's almost like they feel like they have to have this. I want them to know that this is a choice from the very beginning, that I'm choosing this, that they're choosing me. And then when they leave, we're still choosing each other, because I've modeled self-control and I have done a really great job with me. And then I've taught them to do a really great job with them. So I want my goal to be clear, is I value this relationship and I will manage myself, because no one else is going to do it. If Brittany's having a bad day and Brittany's not managing herself, Ashley can attest, she feels that, because I just let it go, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
There is no hiding, if I'm going to be stubborn about something, or if I'm pissed off about something, if I'm upset about something. And that's when I've chosen to not be in control of myself. There's lots of moments where I have all those feelings, but I'm going to rein them in. Now, I haven't perfected the ability that it doesn't show up on my face. I've worked really hard when moments are happening to think about your face, Brittany, think about your face, try and smile. And I feel like I can't furrow my brows and smile at the same time. So I look like I'm twitching. But I'm at least aware of what's going on. So for me, it's the goal. I have to understand that if I'm out of control, all I'm doing is causing harm, because that's my default trying to get power back emotion, is anger. So when it comes to my kids, or our kids,
Thanks.
since I'm talking to you, they are ours, I have to be aware that they're going to do things like repeatedly. And somehow we're shocked still at their repeated behavior. But the more that I am prepared, just in general, that I have thought about moments that I'm, almost case studying, okay, how's this going to go? Like, we just had this hard conversation with Adeline, right? And I know Adeline's personality. I know the likeliness of how this is going to go. The rare possibility is going to go over here, but the likeliness of it. So most of my preparation is here. A little bit is over here, but most of it is where the likeliness is going to go. And I'm thinking about how she will react, how she will respond, what she's going to need, how not to be offended at her disgust, her frustration, her being appalled that we would ever suggest anything that would cause discomfort in her life. There's all of that. But if I'm not making a plan and becoming a powerful parent, then I am thrown off by their behavior. Their childlike behavior, their immature behavior, their reactionary behavior derails my goal. And I guess because I didn't have a plan going into this moment. So I can't stress it enough. Like we've done this podcast for 5 years now, more than 5 years. And I'm shocked that we still have the listeners that we do, because we were just saying the same thing over and over again. But you having a plan helps you protect your goal and maintain self-control. So every single one of our kids is different, every single one, and everything that they're facing, especially right now in their life, is completely different, very different. But there's all levels of discomfort, and they all will manifest something different. So my ability to intentionally prepare for this moment keeps me from losing sight of the goal. And ultimately, if I get to stay a leader.
And that feels like the deep part of this conversation really is there's this part of the conversation where I'm learning to control myself in the middle of your mess.
Hmm.
I'm not reactionary. I'm not triggered by it. I can manage myself in the middle of that. The next part of this I keep thinking about as we're talking is that my ability to control myself is actually to be intentional in this relationship too.
Mm.
That because the goal is a deep, loving, intimate connection with this child, that I'm actually controlling myself in that direction, which is hard as well because there's so many distractions. There's so many other things we could be doing.
Yeah.
So managing myself towards this person too. It's not just managing myself to not be mad or not be upset. That's important. That's a big one. But also that I'm managing myself towards the ultimate goal of a deep, intimate connection. Because I think one of the things that gets us into trouble is we might get to, I'm not mad anymore. I don't react to their stuff anymore, but I'm not actually being intentional with that time and pursuing this child. Like that's the next step to pay attention to.
Hmm.
In controlling yourself, are you moving towards this child?
Yeah.
Because they when they find out that they're worth it, when they find out that you see them as worthy of your time, worthy of your resources, they're special to you,
Hmm.
which is every parent's heart.
Totally.
We just have to chase away the things that want to
Hmm.
block that opportunity.
Hmm.
It's creating the culture we want to live in.
Yeah. I was talking with this mom who she said, all I do is field her child's disrespect or frustration or this and that. She says she's constantly moody, and I feel like it's constantly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I said, how are you doing with controlling yourself when she's out of control? She said, I am not, because I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to lose control, so I'm trying to gain control, which is just funny.
Hmm.
I said, yeah. I said, and how does your daughter feel? And she says, I think she just feels me trying to control her. I'm like, right. So you are chasing your own tail in this, and you've got to figure out a different approach because, you know, the I don't remember exactly the example, but it was something along this kid not getting what they want, and then being sad and disappointed, and she's frustrated that now the sad, disappointed kid is turning that sad into anger and punishing her. You know, you never, why can't I ever? Gosh, why don't you want me to have friends? And so mom feels almost guilted into, gosh, I do want my daughter to have friends. I want her to be accepted. I wasn't trying to do this. She didn't do this. So then she goes into like lecture mode, and it just continues because she's trying to control what this kid's feelings and emotions are. So I said, she's allowed to feel sad and disappointed. It's okay.
Hmm.
She's not allowed to be disrespectful. That's something different. But what I would say is, hey, I get it. I know you're frustrated. I know you don't understand. And I would love to have a great night with you. Tonight's not going to work for your friends. If you want to talk about it some more, I'm happy to do that. But if you're going to be mean, I'm going to walk away. And if you're going to continue to be mean about it, I'm going to start hassle time because she's a little bit older. And I said, and then if she walks away or whatever and doesn't engage in hassle time, great. I would revisit when some of the emotions have died down and say, hey, do you want to talk about it? Yeah, what were you looking forward to most? Oh, you just miss them. Totally. I'm sorry tonight won't work out. Did you want to play a game with me? Do you want to help me make dinner? Finding a reconnect place. Like, this is what happens when you are a parent in control of your own emotions, and you don't blow it. You don't lose it. You don't lose connection. You've protected it the whole way through, regardless of what this kid is doing. So at the end of it, you get to have that heart-to-heart connection, which is what you're usually trying to do in the moment, and it never goes well.
Yeah.
But just the approach, because you have a changed goal and you're protecting it, the outcome is so much different.
Yeah.
So we have lots of stories we could dive into. I think it'd take too long, but the ultimate point is, what's the goal and why is it worth having self-control? And why is it worth protecting? Because we show up differently. I get angry, you become disengaged.
Hmm.
You're still the fun dad, but they don't get the best of you.
Yeah.
Like I think about my dad as the fun dad all the things, but I didn't get the best of him. I didn't get his wisdom. I didn't get his, even probably the most tender spots of his heart, because we didn't have to walk through the hard things, at least to my memory. I could be wrong because this was my interpretation of this, but I do think things changed quite a bit in his engagement when he got a hold of Love and Logic, and same with my mom. You know, we still had our moments of fighting. There was no flight or freeze going on. There's just fighting. But you know, the other end of this is that they worked hard to restore it. They cleaned up their messes, and so we're all friends.
Yeah.
Talking about our vacations in the back porch. That's what we do.
Yeah, I think my encouragement to parents, which is very much the journey we've been on that you're describing, is learn to identify the fear. If you're finding yourself losing control, feeling out of control, wanting more control, there's something you're afraid of.
Yeah.
So if you can ask yourself the question, let someone into this discussion with you, have them ask you, what am I afraid of? What's this thing that's scaring me so much? So I can begin to calm that thing down and actually chase away some of its power. If I can look at it and realize it's not that big a deal. Yes, I'm scared. The scare may not go away, but the power the fear has doesn't have to stay.
Right.
And that's what's creating this control culture that we're just leading our kids in and training them to do the same thing.
Right. Good stuff.
Awesome.
You're so smart.
Oh, 20 years with you, baby.
You know, we did get told at the fair that there's no way we look like we could be married 20 years.
You're too young for that. I said, yeah, we are. As he gave us out ice cream and
yes,
that was funny.
It was pretty funny. Well, we're still having fun together parenting, and we're still having fun together being married. So
all things
one more reason for you to listen to us here on Imperfect Parenting, if not for your enjoyment of our silliness. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for joining us.